Now, the National Working Committee of the All Progressive Congress has scheduled to meet today, being Monday, to ratify its proposed consensus and zoning arrangement for the leadership position of the 10th National Assembly ahead of the legislature's inauguration in June. The planned meeting followed the rejection of the ruling party's consensus agreement by about 68 senators-elect from various political parties. The senators-elect have met on Saturday night till the early hours on Sunday in Abuja, and resolved to reject any compromise plan that could lead to the imposition of presiding officers on the upper chamber of the 10th National Assembly, billed for inauguration on the 13th of June. And we have here in the studio Arise analyst Dayo Sobowale, who joins us to discuss APC's plan to ratify consensus and zoning of National Assembly leadership positions amidst a rancor in the party over the sharing formula. Again, good to have you here on the show.
Good afternoon.
Pleasure.
All right, so let's get straight into it. Looking at how things play out, the APC have set their hearts on zoning and consensus at the moment, but that doesn't seem not to be sitting pretty with some of the people within the party. Is this a storm? Is there a storm brewing in the air, or do you think, as they say, majority carries the votes?
That's right. Let me start from the last sentence. In any democracy, especially in political parties, the minority will have their say, the majority will have their way. But then, you see, the problem with APC now is that there's rancor. There's no doubt about it. There's rancor because, like I said earlier, they are facing a change in the way they do things. People have been talking about zoning and consensus. The zoning is not the old zoning. It is conditioned by the factor which people don't bother to say now, but which got the ticket. The ticket got the president-elect and the APC into power. It's a Muslim ticket.
Yes, it did.
It was a combustible idea when it was mooted, and many people were against it. But then it sold. Now, people are jumping the gun. The legislation will be inaugurated in June. The president-elect will be inaugurated May 29.
Yes.
The president-elect is not a legislator. He will not go to the house. So whatever is going on now is an informal horse trading and speculation, and people flexing muscles to look relevant. But how far that goes, how successful this zoning consensus polemics, how successful it is, depends on the leadership qualities the president-elect and the party will display. They have to put party hegemony in place. Party hegemony, party discipline. And it has to be, if it is force that is necessary, they have to use it. There's an expression, carrot and stick. They know these senators. They got elected on the platform of the party. You can't, what's the expression? You can't be ungrateful to somebody who gave you food and relevance in time of need. The party knows its structure for discipline. It knows its legislators. It knows their strengths and weaknesses. Depending on the stubbornness of the attitude, or the amount of compliance they show to the party's position, then the party should wield the big stick of the stick of carrot, carrot and stick. Yes, those who comply, there must be some largesse to entice them to comply the more. Those who disagree, there must be some deterrence on the ground to deal with them that they must realize. You get me? But it is almost illegal for us to be asking the president-elect to take a stand. Whatever stand he takes, whatever consensus candidate he has, it is informal. It is for the in-group, not for the public. And you see, it's meant to show solidarity before they get to the legislation. It's an informal arrangement, but the party must build a stake, it must show party hegemony, and it must show party discipline. Now it's up to Tinubu himself. He has shown what I would call political foresight. Nobody thought that ticket would get through, but it sold. So I think he has the nitty-gritty, you get me, to be able to market and sell to his audience, because there is audience, these Bikarin legislators, there is marketing target. The leadership of the APC and Tinubu should market them and buy them over. It is a mark of leadership. I'm not saying Tinubu to has charisma. I'm not sure about that. But you know, charisma is a magical quality which leaders have, which you can't explain, but which people follow them literally blindly.
But sometimes charisma always has a way of working against you, because charisma is not leadership. Some people might tend it to be a leadership trait, but when it comes to the nitty-gritty,
charisma, when it is used negatively, can lead to dictatorship. But charisma is when people follow somebody blindly. You call him a thief, they still vote for him. You do whatever. Peron, there are people like that, Hitler.
Okay,
people follow them sheepishly in spite of their faults.
Duly noted, Mr. Sobowale. Thank you. Now, what strikes me in this topic, especially today, is the fact that APC is starting to look a bit like the PDP to an extent. APC now has its own integrity group that is warning the president-elect and the National Working Committee not to plunge the APC into crisis by zoning the Senate presidency. And we're also seeing these bickering senators, as you call them, that have pledged to resist, you know, what was the outcome of the meeting that probably happened over the weekend. Just wondering how you think that resistance is going to play off. Are we looking at a crisis that is brewing? Because if they have pledged to resist this, then it looks like a crisis is imminent.
Yes, a crisis is imminent. But I want to talk on the analogy. The PDP. PDP ignored the crisis.
I just mean the fact that they call themselves the integrity group.
What is in the name? You see, PDP ignored an in-house threat, and it consumed it. It didn't even win power. APC has won power. You get to now? It's the largest of power that people are squabbling over. Their share of power. It's a different ball game. But then it gives the APC leadership of party more clout, because the government has more to give than a party seeking power. A party that has power has the prospect of forming a government. That's incentive and the benefits of winning the election to distribute to people. You get me? That's an incentive for people to toe party line so that they can get something. That is the carrot in it. The other side is to show something that will deter if you disobey, or if you put some disequilibrium on the part of the party strategy.
Oh, but is it not a salient sign that the 10th Assembly will not be heavily criticized like the 9th Assembly as being a rubber stamp if so many senators are not just falling in line? Everyone wants to etch out a path for themselves. Everyone wants to carve out a niche for themselves. Everyone wants their voice to be heard, as against the criticism that have been leveled against the 9th Assembly, whereby all goes.
You see, what is on now?
Yes.
The caucus wranglings. You get me? Before the House gets into session. The legislators elect know themselves.
I'm about to say that because I always say that you can tell that you can tell how the evening will look like from the morning?
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. It's not composed yet. Why are you jumping the gun? Do you get me?
Okay.
I know the comparison you are trying to make was that a one-party legislature will make the legislature a rubber stamp. That's what you are saying. Unlike the Saraki one, when the legislature was broken right at inception.
Yes.
It's to avoid that sort of recreation.
No, but people have criticized that all the amount of or the lack of will to be able to scrutinize what comes into the chambers from the Night Assembly was worrisome for several people, because a lot of people were questioning the level of debt and the fact that at every given point in time, when the executive approached the legislature with approvals, it was just...
You are jumping the gun again.
Okay, please.
You see, the most important example of what you have said is the approval of the budget. You know, the legislature approves the budget.
Yes, they do.
The executive provides the budget.
Yeah.
Constitutionally, the duty of the legislature is to pull down the budget so that they don't spend too much money, so that we don't have an unmanageable deficit. But in the Nigerian situation, which is peculiar to this, not necessarily, to this our country, is that the legislature will add their own package. The legislature is supposed to prune, but instead of pruning, they will add what they need from their consequence and so on. No,
Mr.
he is the one asking.
I know, but this is crucial for me to ask you. We know there's a meeting that's supposed to be holding right now with the, I believe, the chairman of the National Working Committee briefing the members so that they can jump on board. Do you think he'll be successful, yes or no?
It depends on what you mean by successful.
In getting them to...
That's why I didn't want to be specific on issues, because the thing they said it will start at 12.
Yes.
Maybe by the time we leave this place, they will have sat down to discuss.
Okay.
So don't let us jump the gun again.
Right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your time today.
Pleasure.